And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another week of Pokemon investment talk. It's a crazy one this week. I mean, I don't even know where to begin, man. It is insane. It feels like the market right now is at its breaking point. I mean, you literally like it's a new level of fatigue, Alex. I mean, that's all there really is. I mean, God, it's too much to talk about. Alex, do you want to go into a little bit more depth with the people?
Yeah, man. I think the fatigue everyone thought was coming is at this point completely just not happening. The
Yeah.
fatigue we are talking about, guys, and I'm sure a lot of you have started to notice it little by little on social media and some of the groups you're in, just, in any hobby talk, right? Everyone talking about things eventually going to crash or, take a massive dump or these massive reprints and restocks that are always supposed to hit and crash things. And everyone's saying things are like overvalued, Tulip Mania, 90 sports card bubble, like all this stuff. Where the MSRP gang was last year, there was the Top Signal gang, there's the new print facility gang. There's always new stuff popping up. Basically, we've finally seen a fatigue in the Bears. I legitimately think we have bear fatigue right now. And they have just like tried to push against this market and this hobby for so long that a lot of them are giving up and just getting tired of it. And they're just like going with the status quo now.
Man, the Bears have given up, and it's the Bears that are fatigued.
They are, dude.
What a twist.
You can only fight a battle for so long and be wrong for so long and see so much get run away without you and, continue to say things are overvalued and then they double again and they're overvalued still. They double again. It's like you can only put up with that for so long until eventually you just say, you know what? Things are just different. I've lost grip of reality of what this hobby is now.
It's over, man.
I mean, that's honestly, I've been noticing it. Like you're seeing less and less pushback. Like, people still hate it, right? They're still upset. Like they still, yell at the angry scalper. They get angry at the scalpers and they, complain about the botters and, they don't like the prices of stuff. But by and large, for the most part, people are kind of giving up that mantra of, everything is going to crash, print to the ground, MSRP. You don't hear it anymore. And I think they just finally reached a fatigue where they're either, just not participating in the card market anymore, or they, some of them have just given in and now they're starting to buy in and just accept the new prices, whatever it may be. But it just seems like they're getting not okay with, but accepting of this is kind of the new norm and this is how it's going to be for a long while.
Yeah, it definitely feels like as time goes on, it definitely feels like the light at the end of the tunnel starts to get thinner and thinner.
Yeah, guys, anyone asking about the background though? Yeah, I'm in my living room. I was telling Eli, my wife, she works from home out of the spare bedroom. My buddy that works with me, he's actually live right now on Fanatics. If you guys want to go, Nostalgianomics on Fanatics Live. You guys can always go support us there. He's on there doing instant rips as we speak. And so that's why I've been banished to the living room. I've been kicked out of my own streaming office.
So talk to me, Alex. Is there anything that you're looking at right now in this market that's really kind of caught in your eye? I mean, obviously we've got Chaos Rising, which that reminds me, we didn't talk about this last stream because I didn't, to be fair, find out about this news until recently. So Perfect Order. We still haven't gotten our second wave of Perfect Order boosters, right?
We're actually getting Chaos Rising's second wave before Perfect Order.
Yes. We just got announced. Well, Distros just informed us that we're getting our second wave of Chaos. Chaos. And I'm like, dude, what? How does that make any sense?
It doesn't. And it just goes to show that, like, this idea that, again, like going back to the perma bear thing, it's like people have been trying to come up with all these like conspiracy theories, like, oh, well, last time they did the wave system, it crashed, so it's going to crash. You're like, oh, Pokemon is doing this with the printing because they're going to really unload the printing on these new sets. That's why they're not reprinting a lot, or, you know, like they keep coming up with like new, you know, conjuring up these ideas, and it never pans out. And instead of just admit they're wrong and move on, they conjure up a new idea. Well, the Q1 reprints are going to come and crush the market. And it's like, I don't know if it's just, you know, their shtick, and that's like, you know, just kind of the online persona these people have just kind of rallied behind and identify with. But at this point, I think a lot of them are just getting tired. You know, there's only so long you can push back against something. It's kind of like we talked about the whole, remember the fish argument with the salmon swimming up the stream? It's like the salmon can only swim up the stream, you know, so long until they, you know, eventually just pass out or die or whatever. And it's like, that's kind of where we're at. It's like people have been swimming against the current so long in this market, and they can only do it so long.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to watch what Chaos Rising prices are going to be, because right now Perfect Order's at 220. It's kind of been there for a minute now, and we still haven't gotten that second wave. Obviously, when we get it, expect prices to dip. But considering Chaos more or less is getting all of their product like kind of all at once since they got their initial wave, and then 2 weeks later now, I know at least for me, my distros, not all of mine have shipped them out yet. That we're just now starting to get a couple of distros shipping them out to us. So I don't think the price is fully baked in yet, but I'll be interested to see what the price target on that is going to be. I mean, do you have any sort of thoughts, Alex, on what you think it could get to?
The booster boxes of Chaos?
Yeah, right now lowest listed is 235.
Dude, with Perfect Order being 230, never dropping below 200, there's no way in my mind it's going to go under 200. And I think a lot of these stores are going to be keeping a lot of the boxes for like longer term inventory holds. So I doubt we'll see a massive drop. I mean, if I had to guess, I think like 220, 215, 220, maybe the lowest we see on open market.
Yeah.
That's my feeling. I mean, look, for entertainment purposes only, emails to myself, there's been talks at distributors about Pokemon, you know, doing what we all kind of thought, like doing the quiet part out loud and moving away from booster box reprints going forward, and really just continuing on with ancillary products. And so it's unlikely a lot of these U.S. it's unlikely we're going to have booster boxes in the U.S. from reprints. They're going to continue to do ancillary product.
Wait, where are you hearing this from?
Again, that's why I said email to myself. No, I'm not giving any sources or nothing, so don't take it too serious. But
I guess my question is this coming from a reputable source?
Yeah, so it's coming from source of people that have a distributor that is not one of like the big ones, not like the, you know, Southern Hobby, you know, GTX, PhD, but they're an official distributor of Pokemon. And so the owner of that distribution deals with Pokemon directly. And so they have, you know, information that they get from Pokemon. And that's kind of what they're being told, is that no, you know, booster box reprints coming anymore, like for the foreseeable future, at least. You know, everything's being focused on 30th anniversary right now. They're getting the waves of Chaos and Perfect out. Then it's going to be all 30th. No Ascended Heroes on the horizon as well, for at least through distribution.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, obviously right now that makes sense, because there's just not really like an ability for them to print that. The demand is just too high, and they have to always be focusing on the future, is how it feels. I'd be surprised if that's something they did indefinitely, though, considering the fact that booster boxes tend to have the biggest price effect when it comes to the market, because it usually trickles down into not only other ancillary product, but also the packs. So that would be surprising, but at least in the interim, it makes sense, because they just can't reprint anything right now. They just don't have the capacity to be able to go back. They kind of have to just keep going forward.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, again, I just, hold on, Alpha say, I think they really want to print 30th anniversary of the ground. I mean, they're going to need to. I don't know if you guys have been seeing some of those leaks, like, and you know me, I'm not a leaks person, but like, I can't help it. Everywhere I go, it's getting shared. Like my Discord, Instagram, people like send me stuff all the time. I mean, I saw that Umbreon Espeon card, absolutely fantastic. Those futuristic Pikachus or whatever they're throwing out, like, This set's going to need to get printed to the ground, just to keep it somewhat, attainable. Again, I'm just gonna throw it. I'm just gonna throw it out there. I know like some people have a very strong like brain block when it comes to buying a Pokemon product that's over this MSRP. Honestly, they need to just get rid of the stupid term MSRP. They need to kill it because it gets people so like this weird, I don't know, brain blocks. The only thing I can think we're like, we cannot pay any more than MSRP, but it's like, okay, well, when sets, came out and everything was overprinted and everything sucked, you didn't even want to pay MSRP. You wanted to pay under MSRP. It's like, we've seen 2 anniversary sets come out in the past decade that me and you have been in the hobby, Generations and Celebrations. Both of them were hated at the time, right? Both of them were hated at the time, right? And they, like it took 2, 3, 4 years for them to really start gaining some traction. And then now everyone thinks they're like the greatest thing in the world and everyone wants them. And so it's like, this set's going to come out. Yeah, it's probably going to be a smaller set. You're going to have people, trying to trash it the best they can. It's probably going to be printed very heavily. It'll probably, reach some sort of value and it'll probably stay stagnant for some time. But you are going to want to have an anniversary set in the future. Like in 3, 4, 5 years from now, you're going to be kicking yourself that you didn't force yourself to pay whatever it is, 20% over MSRP, 50% over MSRP, whatever it is. The market price on this I think is going to be a good deal, especially if you're going to hold long-term.
Yeah, it feels like right now, I agree with Alfred that 30th is kind of what they're focusing on, we'll say. I know at least that I was talking to one of my distributors specifically, and they told me that the numbers for the 30th were going to be pretty healthy, is what he was saying he was hearing from the pipeline, which of course was a perfect segue for him to say, buy more supplies so you can build your allocations up. Because I don't know if any of your distros are doing it, but at least one of my distros is very much saying if you want to build spends, you need to buy more supplies since you can't buy Pokemon product to build spends. So that's kind of how they're pushing it. But at least I've heard so far that it feels as if they're going to try and dump as much 30th as possible.
Yeah, 100%. Dump as much 30th as possible. And I think there's this belief, right, that there's infinite amounts of this stuff out there, right? That everyone has it. Everyone's always known that. But there's like this belief that, just because people own things, the market can't rise in value. It's almost like, well, because Eli and Alex have a case, that means the market can't go up, because if the market going up, they would obviously just sell it. And well, no, I mean, just because 100 million people own something, but none of them want to sell it, then the market goes up. If, 1 million of them want to sell something, well, then the market will stagnate. And if not enough people want to buy it, it'll go down. It's just regular supply and demand. And I think people have a really hard time coming up with grasping the concept that like, man, there's all this sealed product out there. How can it go up in value, or it's all going to crash at some point? It's just like, not everyone needs to sell or wants to sell at the same times. It slowly gets leaked out here or there. Some is done publicly, some is done privately. And as long as there's more public demand than there are public sales, the price will continue to rise. And then anything done on the private market, whether it be, you could even say other social media sites are more of the private market because they're not like, data isn't taken, like Facebook, Instagram, Discord. All of the values are going to be taken off eBay and TCG Player. That's where Card Ladder, Collector App, they're all going to take their values from there. So even if you're getting a price lower than the public sites, the values all still being derived from those sites. So if the public, if the public inventory on those sites goes down and the prices keep going up, and you say, well, I found it on Facebook for 85% of that. Okay, that's still 85% of a higher price. Is my point. So it's like the prices are still going to keep rising, guys, whether you can get a better deal or not than like TCG or eBay or something. The prices are going to continue to rise because of scarcity.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one unique thing about Pokemon, right? Is even if you say to yourself that like, let's say tomorrow, Pokemon market, like a bunch of things start crashing. The crazy thing about the Pokemon market is that unlike other, we'll say investments, Pokemon, it's deflationary in terms of its overall supply. Like it is constantly going down the more that sealed product keeps getting open, right? So at the end of the day, that's one of the reasons why we always talk about how sealed product is so successful at investing in, because you know that you take the worst of a booster box, and in 10 years, you know for a fact there will be less of that supply in 10 years than there were, just 10 years ago. Like, I mean, you could use that in any time frame, but obviously it doesn't matter. It's besides the point. Like, the more that gets open, the less there is. And
Think
that's
about
what
this
makes
too,
it.
man.
Huh?
No one thinks of how they're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth when you talk to them. On one hand, someone will say, all of this sealed products are being put away and kept sealed, and so it's not going to do well in the future. And then on the other side of their mouth, they're saying all of these modern cards are so overvalued. Look how high the pops are getting. They get higher every day. Where do you think the cards come from to get put in the plastic to rise the pops?
Yeah.
They got to get open from somewhere, which then depletes the supply of sealed, which makes that rise. It's just like the self-fulfilling prophecy. But people, for some reason, they don't put two and two together. They think like, oh yeah, everyone's got it sealed, but simultaneously, all the population reports are rising.
Yeah.
What sense does that make? Where do the cards come from? They just print them off the line and hand them out? Like, what are we doing?
No, Pokemon investing is still extremely niche. Like, obviously, I will say that, like, yes, institutional investors are getting more involved, the Kevin O'Leary's and such. But, like, realistically, at least when it comes to the, like, kind of conversations I'd had with people, whether it be at events or whether it be at, our card shop, most of them have absolutely no idea what Pokemon investing is. All they know is things are more expensive because there's more people that are opening than ever.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it is. Like, some people, which is such a crazy concept to me, because like you would assume that people would kind of look at the market and be like, oh, there is like this product that's consistently going up in value. It might be worthwhile for me to like consider looking at this potentially as a way to actually make money investing. But that's not the mindset of a lot of the people in this hobby, because most people don't have the ability to hold on to this product, because in their mind, they're seeing it as an object that is for entertainment purposes, that is supposed to be opened. And so rather than viewing it in the way that we do, they view it from the perspective of, oh, well, prices are going up, therefore I need to open it now before prices go up because I know they're going to. And then on top of that, even if hypothetically they did say to themselves, like, this is something that will go up in value at some point, it's difficult for them to be able to hold it or have the discipline to hold it, because they enjoy the aspect of opening so much that it's not something that to them they want to even do to begin with, because financially in their mind, they're not looking at this outside of the enjoyment aspect of it, right? So it's like a stock, for example. If someone goes and invests in a stock, it's not one of those things where you can open a stock, right? Like, you take your money, you put in a stock, that's it. Whereas with Pokemon, you can completely destroy the value of your booster box by opening it, right? And of course, you can hopefully get something good from it, but we know that's very unlikely, right?
It's one of the only entertainment hobbies out there that you can actually get a return on your fun.
Yeah.
We have trolls come into live streams all the time. You know how that is. And they try to troll like me or people on like ripping packs, right? I can't believe you guys are ripping this. You just got, and it's just like, dude, that'd be like following somebody around at like a baseball game and be like, I can't believe you paid $10 for that beer. Oh my God, $10 for a hot dog? Are you stupid? And like, it's just like, dude, when you go to a concert, a game, a vacation, Disney World, you are 100% spending your money. It's gone, right? Pokemon is at least a place where you can actually spend your money. You're going to get cards to collect. You already get something tangible. And then you even have a chance to get something that's like more valuable than the pack you opened, exponentially more valuable, as valuable. You get value back and you get to have the fun of ripping packs. But like, people who don't value the entertainment that the hobby brings, well, then they're never going to see eye to eye. Like, they probably shouldn't even be in the hobby, right? They can just, invest and do it, in the background, and don't like, kind of get involved in the community, because they'll never understand it. They don't enjoy it. And so I think that's kind of the divide too, is like people that strictly invest and only earn it for financial purposes. it doesn't even click in their brain that, oh yeah, people just like this. They like the cards. They like opening packs. It's their entertainment. Because the people that are complaining about and saying that stuff, they don't think twice when they go out and spend money going playing around a golf. Like they don't even think twice going and blowing like $70, right? And then they'll get on and be like, you just paid $50 for those booster packs. Oh my gosh. And it's just a disconnect. Is all it is.
Yeah, no, it's a completely different mentality, right? To us, we're like, we don't want to open because we know that the value will consistently go up. Whereas they want to open because they know the value will consistently go up. And so they want to open it now because they know that if they want to open in the future, it's going to cost them more. It's a completely different mindset, right? So, which is fascinating to watch, and arguably why I would say that most prices are obviously continuing to rise at an accelerated rate. It's because everyone, or I shouldn't say everyone, but the majority tends to have that mindset of rip now so that I can not have to pay more in the future.
Yeah, and we'll take questions here in a second, guys. But I do want to respond to the comment. Like, only problem I see is the kids. They only see the value. Look, guys, you're missing me with the kids argument. Everywhere I go, I see kids. In my streams, I see it in my streams every night. People are there ordering for their kids' birthday. We're sitting here opening with our kids. I go to local card shops. Their kids are there. Eli, I would tell you, parents come with kids all the time. I'll tell you one thing. When I was a kid, it definitely was still about the value. Everybody knew what the valuable cards were. They knew Charizard was the expensive card. Back then, here when I was younger, collecting like sports cards and things, they had Beckett's, same company, Beckett grading company, but they had paper, booklets they put out in like gas stations and card shops, and you could buy those and you could go and see what the market price of all the cards were. And all my friends had them. We'd pull packs and we'd immediately look them up in the Beckett and see what they were worth. Like that is some BS that people are trying to spew you. Everyone has always cared about the value, no matter if they were 10 years old or 100 years old. That is some BS. So no, kids are doing the same thing kids have always done.
Maybe it's a generational thing, but there was definitely not value to things when I was growing up because no one really knew the value. And like I said, maybe it's a generational thing, but like I didn't really grow up with like magazines. That wasn't something we did. And it was early like technology days. So like computer was a thing, but like TCG player wasn't around, right? And eBay, it wasn't a site that was easy for you to navigate if you're like a 10-year-old, right? Especially since, our computer at least, and I hear a lot of families had the same thing. You had the one family computer, right? It was the one archaic, like, Windows 3, like Windows 2 desktop that was like white, and it ran so slow. Whenever you try and search things, everything took forever to load. And so it was like no one really knew what the value was other than what the local card shop told you. That was kind of where we got our
value. Even like Beanie Babies put out a booklet of like what they said the values are and like what they would be in the future and stuff. Like I feel like everything has always been had a value attached to it though.
I guess what I mean though is like as a kid growing up and like going to the playground or sitting at lunch with my friends, it was never one of these things where it was like, hey, I know your card's worth X amount and mine's worth X amount, let's do this trade, because none of us knew what our cards were worth. So we just created our own value. So a perfect example is like every kid that I talked to that was younger, this is so stupid, but it's so funny. We derive value from HP. So like we thought that the Pokemon that had like the most HP was the best Pokemon, and no one like, and it's crazy too because like I remember I did this trade and like I as a kid like you think you're getting fleeced, right? Because I had this this is super nostalgic for me. I actually, you know what? I went back and got the card and I graded it in a 10. So when I was younger, so I actually pulled this card as a non-holo, or sorry, as a reverse holo, and I actually graded it as a 10. It's a Whale Lord. It might be kind of hard to see, but it's a Whale Lord card from here. I can try and bring it a little closer so that people can see it. So, definitely bring it the other way. So it is a Whale Lord holo. It's got 200 HP. I got it in a 10. So I absolutely love this card. This is from Great Encounters. So
Dude, you got the Whaler from Great Encounters?
oh,
Dude, what's the pop on that?
really low. I think last time I checked it was a pop 3. It might have gone up, but
dude, that's not cool to like flex that on people midstream. I'm just saying, like, we have people of all different income levels here. But you should probably like be a little more respectable, like, you know.
But anyway, so I when I was a kid, I pulled the non-holo version of that card, and everyone thought that was the best card because it was the one that had the most HP at the time. It had 200 HP, and that was massive for the time, right? And so, of course, I pulled the non-holo or the reverse holo. I had to grade it. It got a 10. I was stoked. Because it's a very nostalgic card for me. And I remember, like, I was at lunch and I traded it for a like Giratina holo card and like another holo Pokemon card. And they were both like 100, 110 HP. And so, like, that was the trade was, oh, you have 200 HP Pokemon that are holos. I have my non-holo 200 HP Pokemon. Like, that's a good deal. And at the time I was like, oh, I'm getting fleeced because he has the highest HP Pokemon in the game now. But I guess it's like good because they're holos, blah, blah, blah. So it's like the notion of value for us was HP, and it had like no bearings to it because like none of us played the game. Like literally none of us played the Pokemon game as kids. So it was always fascinating that we, for some reason, felt like that was what made a Pokemon card cool. So I mean, you're a kid, right? You're like 7 or 8 years old. So it's just crazy to think about some of the things that you'll do to like, you know, give value to something. But it was never, you know, like I said, maybe my childhood's different, but it was never something that we had values for anything. Like, dude, I remember, oh my God. I remember, oh, you know, actually, okay, sorry. I'm ranting for a second, but you know what I will say?
Let me ask you this though.
Yeah, you can ask me a question.
Did you ever complete like all the sets though from when you were a kid?
No, never. No.
You never had all the big hits.
No, I mean, I would
And
always
you would get what, like a couple packs here and there?
I tried owning as many level X's as I could. And then one day they went through the washer and I had to restart, and that sucked. But I had quite a bit. I had like at one point like 20 plus level X cards that I was collecting. So I was getting pretty close to collecting all of them.
My whole point to those questions were, you know, people have this like mindset now that everyone like deserves and needs to have everything. And it's just like, dude, everyone grew up different. Everyone around me when I was kids, like, dude, when their parents would come home with like a couple packs, that was huge. And we'd call each other and tell them, I got a couple packs. I pulled this, pulled that. It's like no one had a full set of anything. You know, like if I had the base set Charizard, I was like the guy in the neighborhood because like I had the Charizard, no one else had it. It's like, what do people think now? Like for kids to like be engaged in this hobby and like want it long term, they need to be able to open packs whenever they want, as many as they want. They need to be able to open booster boxes. They should be completing all the sets. They need to own every card for them to be truly like, you know, engaged and in the hobby. It's like, dude, that's such bull crap. Like you do not need to have kids owning every single thing for them to still enjoy Pokemon in the future. We didn't. And so the fact that like people say kids can't enjoy the hobby now, it's like, oh, so no one can afford a couple packs every few weeks, maybe. Like no one can afford to pick up an ETB or a collection box here or there. Like, do we need to like give kids a gift every day? Do they need to have a gift waiting for them every week on Friday? Like, what kind of world are we living in? The consumerism has gotten out of hand, man.
I mean, yeah, like America isn't inherently a consumerist country. I think the hard part though is that when it comes to the overall like Pokemon market as a whole, like inflation, and I shouldn't even say the Pokemon market, the US economy.
You can't use inflation. Inflation's way worse on everything else than it has been on the Pokemon hobby. Way worse.
Inflation's been worse on everything else in the Okay.
What's that?
I don't know if he's going to grab something to make an argument to what I was about to say, which I haven't even finished my statement, or if something happened. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, so we can hear what I have to say. But I mean, more or less, the point I'm just trying to articulate here is I feel as if it's significantly different now because obviously it doesn't come down to, oh, like kids are entitled to have a certain amount. That's not the point here. The point here is that you just get less for your dollar's worth now than you did 10 years ago. And obviously Pokemon's in a different place right now because of inflation and because of the demand for the hobby. But even then, like, that's not to say that doesn't frustrate people. Like, that's just inherently true, right? Even if you take like a year or two ago and you look at the Pokemon market and you say to yourself, wow, I could buy a booster box for $90.
Sorry.
No, you're good. No, the point I was trying to make, and let me get to my point, and you can give your pushback. All my point is that people are just upset because you now get less for more, and that's just the reality of it. So that's just it. Like, I don't understand why that isn't a normal human thing, because if I said to you that, just 2 years ago, you could have gotten double the amount of product for the exact same price than today. Like, why wouldn't you be like, man, that sucks? You know what I mean? So it
I
has
get
nothing
it,
to do with
but
consumerism. It just has to do with the fact that I spent $100 and $100 got me a booster box. Now I spend $100, it gets me an ETB or like maybe 2 booster bundles, but it doesn't even scratch the surface on a booster box.
I mean, I guess, but I'm just thinking like back in the day, like our packs cost $4. And when I got my first job, like people were getting like $6.50, $7 an hour. And now everyone's making like, $13 to $15 an hour on their first job. And packs are literally not double. So I don't know.
I mean, Pokemon, though, how do I want to say this? You could easily get them for cheaper on eBay or other places forever. Like,
Oh, you mean like for a few years ago?
yes.
Yeah, I was talking like from when we were like what I'm talking about is like I don't think it's much different for kids now than when we were kids. Like I think I mean, again, depending on how you grew up. I mean, I grew up middle class. I mean, I think our parents were pretty strapped. I mean, all we got was a couple packs every couple of weeks or something. Like maybe your birthday, you got a few more, but like, we all enjoyed what we had. We were able to put binders together, trade, whatever. Like my point is, I don't think you need an overabundance of product being dumped on kids all the time, always buying them for them to like and enjoy the hobby long term. Like I think as long as they have a collection, they're able to get some packs here and there. I feel like that's enough. Like I'm not saying it's a great situation with everything priced. I'm saying the idea that things have priced people out to where they can't even, buy stuff. It's like, well, you can probably get better looking single collection if you go to card shops and buy up tons of like these illustration rares EXs than we could have ever dreamed of back in the day. So it's like, I don't know. And then like, as far as like the pulling the cards, like people can say, well, it was easier to pull hollows back then because they were 1 in 3 packs, where now it's so hard to pull the hits. Like, well, yeah, but a hollow wasn't valued as much as like a Forest Pikachu was. Like, when you pull the base set Charizard, it wasn't worth $1,500. So I don't know, man. There's similarities, but there's also differences.
Well, and I would argue, I know this is different for you, obviously, versus my, anecdotal experience, but I would say that's because people look at price more because it's so much easier to look at.
Oh,
Like,
for sure.
at least when I was a kid, like I said before, I know for you as the magazines, but when I was a kid, I could literally not tell you what the value of cards is. Versus nowadays, if a kid that's 6 or 7 years old wants to know what the value of a card is, it is extremely easy for them to be able to find out what the value is, because there's so much there's so much more technology that tells you that.
Yeah, there's no arguing that.
Yeah. So to me, it's like, I would say that part and parcel, one of the reasons why there's been such a huge shift in the landscape is purely because of technology. Like, technology has drastically changed the way in which we look at trading cards. And I would argue that's part of the reason why the popularity has gone up so much, is because you can track values more. If you can't track values nearly as much back in the day, then it's hard for people to come to an agreement on what something is worth. But the minute that we can all come to an agreement on like what the value of something is, then it makes it a lot easier for us to say, hey, should be worth X amount, if that makes sense.
So yeah, I understand what you're saying. Here, one more thing I'll push back on is that even when like YouTube started to get big for Pokemon, and you had like Unlisted Leaf and Leonhardt and, you know, all the guys before PokeRev era, right? Everyone would still have the values pop up on screen every time they would pull a card out of a pack.
But that's
Or
like
you had Darium's
2016,
Pokemon
2017.
you had Darium's Pokemon doing profit loss videos. It's like even before the COVID craze and then before this craze, right? It's ever since, you know, at least the past decade, it's always been about price.
But that's 2016, 2017. I'm
Well,
talking
that's what
early
saying. So
2000s.
but no one was complaining about it then. They're only complaining about it now. It's like, well, why weren't we complaining about it 10 years ago? It doesn't make sense. No one was saying kids can't enjoy the hobby 10 years ago when it was already all about price.
Well, I guess I thought the original conversation was when we were kids, and by kids, I mean 6 or 7 years old, right? There wasn't a way for us to derive value. Pokemon wasn't nearly as popular in 2013, 2014, 2015 as it was, I would argue, as the late 90s, early 2000s. Like that was the peak of Pokemon. So I guess my thing is it wasn't a popular thing for people to go and like watch that kind of content yet. And it didn't come out until later on in like 2016 when Pokemon started to become popular again and you started to see a rise in values because of the introduction of Pokemon Go. And then obviously that was, I would argue that is really around the time in which values became a thing. And then that's when you started to see an accumulation of price increases for Pokemon. Because you have to think about it, right? Like that was around the time when we saw Evolutions, Roaring Skies, Primal Clash, like these sets that, you know, saw value for the first time. Whereas like new set releases for like Black and White era, early XY era, like Diamond Pearl era, like they didn't have value. Like they were always crap. But then in XY era, as technology developed, there all of a sudden became a shift within the way in which like the cards were valued, specifically for building competitive decks. And obviously you saw more popular streamers like you just gave as examples being more prevalent in the hobby. And then that only continued to grow over time along with the acceleration of that growth, right? Like, you know, videos where people are like, oh my God, like this booster box, you know, it goes for $200. That's so crazy, you know, and now it's like, oh, every booster box at minimum comes out at $200. And so it's kind of just built upon that foundation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm
in no way advocating this is like the best, like, you know, situation we found ourselves in or anything like that. Ideal, you know. I'm just saying that like the idea, you know, the whole argument started with that whole like, you know, the kids can't enjoy it. It's like, dude, there's kids all across the nation right now still having Pokemon card collections. Like, you know, maybe you can't enjoy it at the rate you want to, or complete every set or hit every big hit because they're too expensive and they weren't, you know, 10 years ago or 20 years ago. But again, you can have a Pokemon collection now. That was it.
So I'm just trying to look it up because I wanted to go back and look at Durham's because I actually do like their content. I used to watch them. So it looks like this is just their webpage, right? So this is just what I'm seeing. Derium's Pokemon.
Oh.
So their first ever booster box break that they did a live on, their oldest video is 9 years old, which is 2016.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I remember it being when they introduced it, because most of the ones they did were like latter half XY, and then Sun and Moon were the ones they did big breaks for. So, which is when we started to see sets like literally get value. Like, I don't know if you grew up Burning Shadows, but Burning Shadows out the gate was like very popular because like the idea of chasing a Rainbow Charizard like was
Sun and Moon was popular with the Rainbow Rares. Everyone was hyped about them.
Yeah, Rainbow Rares are very, I mean, for what it's worth, I know we like to look at Sun and Moon and like crap on it because not every single set was like super popular, but there were sets that were in the Sun and Moon era that did extremely well. Like obviously Hidden Fates, obviously a big one. Burning Shadows is a big one.
Ultra Prism was huge.
Yeah. Also, oh my God, Ultra Prism was a big one. Yeah. So there are sets that did well. Whereas like, at least for me, the only time I can really think of a set like pre-2016 2016 that did well, or we'll say 2014 that did well, is like Legendary Treasures did pretty well, but it was never anything like Evolutions.
Well, Flashfire did.
Yeah, Flashfire did well, but did it do as good as Evolutions?
Well, I mean, price point wise, it did. Sales wise, maybe not, because they didn't pick up the printing until later half of XY when things got crazy in 2016. So all the 2014 sets, they weren't printed heavily, which is why there's so much. Like base set isn't the greatest set ever, but XY base is so expensive because it was so short printed, you know?
Yeah, because like, yeah, it's hard for me to answer that because
it's a different
it
era.
wasn't easy for me to track values back then.
And it's a different era. Like the 2014 sets, the base, Flashfire, Phantom Forces, Furious Fists, those were printed at a level that met the demand of that time. Once Pokemon Go got released and then 20th anniversary and Evolutions, the printing started going crazy, but they never went back and printed the early XY stuff. So those were just never, you know, they weren't printed in a time like we were in then. Kind of like nowadays, like none of the stuff in Sword and Shield Scarlet Violet was printed like it was back in Sun and Moon. And it's like every time we make this list leg up, everything before seems low printed.
Well, to put in perspective, I got distribution in 2020 for Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
So I want you guys to think about that, right? Sets that came out in 2020. When I first got on, the set that was coming out was Darkness Ablaze, right? So, and I was taking pre-orders for Vivid Voltage, right? So you guys it's setting the stage. I want you to guess, Alex, what the oldest booster box was available for me to purchase.
In Vivid Voltage?
So I got distribution. Vivid Voltage was the set that was about to come out. What do you think the oldest booster box I could order was at the time?
I'm going to say either Fates Collide or it may go back to Roaring Skies Primal Clash.
It was Breakthrough.
So right in the middle. Okay.
Right in the middle. Yeah, you're right around there. So they had Evolutions, they had Breakthrough, and they had Steam Siege. Those were the ones. And you could order, so you could order those booster boxes, and then you could order Breakpoint. You could order sleeve cases of Breakpoint and Roaring and Primal like infinitely. Like they had unlimited amounts. So to put in perspective, guys, 2 generations worth of Pokemon had gone by and they still had XY era product. So like that would basically be right now the equivalent of you being able to go right now buy team up booster boxes.
Not quite. We're in Mega technically. So maybe like early Sword and Shield, maybe.
Well, actually, when did Roaring Skies come out?
I want to say 15.
So Roaring Skies release date was 20. So if we'll say it was 5 years, so I guess that'd be evolving then. If we're just talking on time frame, yeah. So that'd be the quote. Dude, man, the Scarlet Violet era has been so long. Holy crap.
Well, no, it's because it's Mega Evolution era now.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, yeah. So
you want to take questions?
This guy. Yeah. So yeah, it'd be the equivalent of you being able to go back and get Evolving Skies. But I guess I look at it though from a generation perspective, not from a year perspective. But if we're talking years, yeah.
Yeah.
So because how I look at it is you're in Sword and Shield era, you go back Sun and Moon, you go back XY, right? It's the equivalent of we're in Scarlet Violet era, you go back Sword and Shield, you go back Sun and Moon. Does that make sense? That was at least how I looked at it, because I do consider the Mega to be a part of the same era, but the era obviously is significantly longer than what we've typically seen.
Hey, so let's from the comments on the last stream.
Yeah, we should probably start answering.
Let's try to go quicker on our answers so we can try to get to more of them.
All right, we'll do that. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, everyone. Really helps out the channel. If you want to check out Alex's content, link is down in the description below. We'll start taking questions. We'll try and be quick with it. We'll take the super chats first. Shout out to Aura Guardian. Alex took some profits on low flyer booster boxes and plan to buy prismatic ETB cases. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. Congrats. Like that's what it's all about. You know, the internet demonizes like taking profits in Pokemon investing, but that's what it's all about. Yeah. If you make some gains you want, you see something better to move it into, take the profits, move them.
Alex has muscles.
Thank you, Flip Flop Farmer.
That's there you go. Thanks for the $2.
There you go.
Steve F3798, buy Prism SPC at 280 and First Partner Series 1 at 60.
I think they'll both do well. I mean, I have to stay on character, right? And I have to tell you prismatic. Because if I don't, like I'll lose my prismatic contract to my sponsorship through prismatic.
Your prismatic sponsorship?
Yeah.
You got to give me one of those, dude. Holy moly.
I'll get you one, but you have to always pump prismatic every chance you get, though. Like that's one of the
dude. That's
one of the deliverables.
Dude, you're getting paid for this. I'm doing that for free. What are you talking about?
I'm telling you, man.
LOL, kids can have whatever the parents buy.
Yeah. I don't have kids, so I don't like getting deep in the conversation, but
wow.
All I know is almost every night on my streams, there's parents opening with their kids or buying for their kids. In every card shop I go into locally, it's hard for me to go into one without seeing at least one parent and kid group in there, and the parents getting stuff for their kids. You know, I'm sure it's not like that for everybody. I'm sure that people are struggling and it's harder and all this stuff. So I don't know. It's just to each their own type thing. I just know there are a lot of kids still enjoying the hobby. When you go to Collecticons, they're filled with kids. There's kids everywhere. I think there's still a decent chunk of children involved in Pokemon.
But not your own, because frick them kids.
True.
If you don't need the money, would you sell or hold the Fusion Strike booster box? Consider selling to reinvest. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Cool Shibe.
If I had no capital and I wasn't going to get any more capital in the near term future, I would definitely considering selling and buying Prismatic.
The contract, guys, you got to remember.
If you have one choice, is it Fusion or Prismatic? I'm going to take Prismatic. Here's what you have to ask yourself. I'm going to make it really easy. After seeing Crown Zenith 151 and Paldean Fates, all the booster packs are like $25 to $30. All the ETBs are in the 300s up to 500s. You have to ask yourself, in the next 2 years, when Prismatic goes out of print, literally next April, in the next 2 years, you have to ask yourself, do you not see Prismatic at least performing similar to Crown Zenith, Paldean Fates, and 151? If you do, well, that would be double the price of what it is now. So you have to ask yourself, do I think a set with a $6,000 PSA 10 Umbreon in it, which is the most valuable special illustration rare ever created? It's worth more than the Phantasmal Flames Charizard, the Forest Pikachu, the Mega Gengar, the Bubble Mew, you name it. It is the most valuable special illustration rare. And it's second only to the Umbreon VMAX in the last 3 eras. It is literally the second most valuable card printed in the last 3 eras, Sword and Shield, Scarlet Violet. So you have to ask yourself, do I think that set is not going to double? Or do I think a Fusion Strike box is going to go from 1,000, 1,100 to 2,000, 2,200 in the same time frame? I personally do not. I would bet on Prismatic.
I think Prismatic is definitely a very no-brainer buy, that's for sure. Alex, what's your Galaxy Grail referral code, and can you give me a quick explanation how it works?
Yeah, Galaxy Grails. I don't have their. I'm not on my normal setup where I'd be able to copy paste it immediately, man. I'm on a laptop in my living room, but
he's off his A game.
Ask me next stream or come into to one of the streams. I'll give it to you. Dude, Galaxy Grails, it's digital rips. It's digital rips. If you like graded cards, it's a great value. I know some people are against it, but the expected value on the breaks are always ranging from like the high 90s to like over 100% EV. An average booster pack is like 20 to 50% EV. And so your expected value on the break is much higher. The floor of what you can pull is much higher than a booster pack, which a floor is basically pulling nothing. And the instant buyback feature, I think, is fantastic because, typically when you open packs yourself, what do you got to do? Well, if you pull a card you have doubles of or you don't want to get your money back, you got to go trade it into a card shop and take whatever 50 to 70%. You got to sell it yourself on eBay TCG Player, pay fees and shipping, which you're going to get probably 85%. Or you got to go try and sell it to a card show at a vendor. And it's like, well, with Galaxy Grails, you can sell the things you don't want back immediately, get 85% right back. If it's over certain amounts, you can get up to 90% back. And it just allows you to kind of like, it flows so much better, allows you to collect more, open more. But again, you have to be into graded cards. So they are all graded cards.
Got a couple more super chats in. Shout out to PokeLoop Cards. I have a case 1.8K worth of Ascended Heroes. Should I sell AH and purchase the case prismatic? I'd be selling all my position. I wouldn't. No.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing is too, like you have to remember when you sell, you are going to incur a selling fee. So you're going to be investing less than what you currently have. Also, with Ascended Heroes, everyone knows it's going to be an incredible set, incredible investment. The timing, no one knows. Like, dude, for all we know, it doesn't get any crazy reprints or they reprint bundles or other collection boxes and ETBs go to the moon. I wouldn't get all out of Ascended Heroes right now. No. And by the way, guys, people think like I'm like against Ascended Heroes. I'm just very pro prismatic at this particular time. If you come, we're going to be having streams, me and Eli. If you ask us this next June, after Prismatic's out of print, if it's, let's just say hypothetically Prismatic is $400 in ETB next June and Ascended Heroes is still 180, I'm pumping Ascended. I'm going Ascended then. It's just for the time being, when Prismatic literally goes out of print a whole year ahead of time and you can buy those still for cheaper than Ascended Heroes right now, I'm buying Prismatic now just based on the timing. I love both the sets. They're both going to do it insanely crazy. I just think it's early. It's early to buy more Ascended. But yeah, I'd like to have some position. So yeah, I would hold some.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Alex, but I would argue that probably a large reason why he prefers Prismatic over Ascended is because Prismatic has already had a large amount of it printed, and Ascended is such a new set that we don't know if it's going to have any more print. And so it has a lot higher of a probability that there will be more Ascended supply compared to Prismatic supply. So it just feels safer from it seeing more of a price correction in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Trinell said, "Hey Eli, I know it's super recent, but with PSA closed, are you seeing slabs slowly start to sell more at the shop?" That's a great question. I will get back to you guys on that next week because I actually don't know that answer. So, but I can easily text one of my
You're
employees.
You're going to go into your store. It's going to be like wiped clean. Like, why didn't you guys tell me our inventory's dry?
Dude, our inventory, I honestly don't understand how we're doing the sales numbers that we are doing because I'm like, where are we getting this product from? Like, we have no product. How are we able to make sales?
That's probably how distributors feel.
But it's like I said before, it's because we do a trade. And then the minute we do that trade, that product's already gone.
Yeah, so you never actually get a chance to see it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at our display case full of like our graded cards, we just don't have a ton and they're constantly cycling. So
when I was grading heavily, I would do that with local card shops. Like I would always just, like I got to know them and they would always just let me see their intake before they even hit the sales floor, before they even like sold them online. I'd be like, they would just like get all their collection buys they had just bought for that couple days. And I would just look through them all before they even hit the shelves because yeah, man, it's like when things hit the shelves, they're gone as soon as they get there in this kind of market.
So it was a green screen after all, Alex. Where is the Prismatic? Just joking. Great live again. Thank you.
Go log on Fanatics Live, fanatics.live and go to Nostalgianomics on there. You'll see Steve streaming on there. All the Prismatic wall in back of him.
Thoughts on these sleeper single pickups? Evolving Skies Evolution VMAX promos sit between 40 and 80, and then the Paradox Rift, Roaring Moon SIR.
Oh, singles? I gotta take the Evolving Skies EV VMAXs over Roaring Moon, right?
When he says the Evolution VMAX promos, plural, which ones is he referencing?
I'm guessing he's talking about the Vaporeon, Flareon Jolteon from those collection boxes.
Okay.
Those are the only VMAX evolutions there are, I think.
Well, if we're talking alt arts, yes, but he never specified because there are a ton of evolution promos.
Of VMAXs though? I don't think so. Maybe.
Oh, I see what you mean. Of VMAXs. Well, the only VMAX that I can think of is the EV VMAX promo, which is the ETB one from
Shining Legends.
Shining Legends. Or Shining Fates. So that's where my mind went immediately, but he did say Evolving Skies Evolution VMAX promo. So yeah, no, I don't. Now that I think about it, I don't think there is a VMAX promo because I don't know if you remember, but they were all V's now that I remember it. But they did the promo for the GameStop Evolution box
where they were all on a wheel.
Yeah, but those were all V's. So I'm assuming that your point is more what he's discussing. Yeah, I agree with you on the EVs. It's hard, man. They're such a valuable promo. I feel like I gotta look this up now.
Well, I mean, just judging the fact that Roaring Moon, like it started out at the top hit of the set for the longest time, and it's gotten passed by like a number of cards. I think people they don't really care about the Pokemon. You got to care about the Pokemon. It can't just be a good art these days. It has to be some Pokemon people want to collect.
Yeah, 100%. Future of Celebrations Pokemon Center ETBs. I have a case at MSRP. Seems to be holding around 500 despite the run up to the 30th.
I have no idea, man. I mean, we could have a whole discussion and still not get an answer on shelf life of products, right? Like, there's a lot of X, Y, and Sun and Moon stuff that's been sitting stagnant for a good long period now that hasn't seen a lot of movement. Like, do some of these products get to a price point and they kind of just trade in a range for extended period of time and maybe have gradual, run-ups little by little? Maybe it's like there's definitely an optimized time to sell certain products and move into others, but every product's different and I can't tell you what time that is.
I mean, it's not a bad return depending upon the price you got it at, right? Like if you're saying to yourself, you bought it for $65, sitting around 500, like that's solid, right? Like an 8x return is pretty dang good. So I would argue that, it's probably one of the better returns. Now, I think what makes it tough is that if you compare that to Fusion, for example, I mean, Fusion, obviously, Evolving, obviously, Lost Origin, I think Brilliant at this point. I mean, a lot of these booster boxes significantly outpaced it, right? Because you were able to pick up Fusion. I mean, God, you could pick up Fusion for almost in the 70s, right? So it's I think 11 or 12x at this point. So it's a good pickup, but I'll be 100% honest with you. I had a pretty heavy Celebrations Pokemon Center position for a while, and I bought them for $65 back in the day, and then they were stagnant for 2 years at 120, and I ended up just selling them and moving them into a different position, which was Lost Origin. So
which that needs to be taken into consideration too, guys. Like, stop worrying about what a product does when you move out of it, right? Like everyone's so worried about like making the exact right decision or missing out, and it's just like, dude, odds are every single thing is going to continue to be higher. Like you could look at it in 5 years. I'm sure Celebrations ETBs be higher than they are now. The question is, what did you do with the money in the meantime, and how well did it perform for you? It's like, going back to the Fusion Strike question, do I care that I sell Fusion Strike and put it into Prismatic if Prismatic's 400 in ETB in 2 years and Fusion Strike's 1,500? No, I don't care. I'm happy I moved it. But it's just like some people will be like, I knew I shouldn't have sold it. It's up $500. It's like, unless you're literally rich, you can literally catch them all. You just got to make the best possible decisions you think you can make with your money, with the time frames you're comfortable with, risks you're comfortable with, all that.
Yeah, for me, I just hate being in a position that's stagnant. Like if I see a huge run up and then it becomes stagnant, that's one thing. But if it's an item that has been stagnant over, a several year period and it's had like literally no volatility, then it makes it really difficult for me to like want to stick around in that position. The only other item I can think of off the top of my head where I moved out of it was Hidden Fates ETBs. I had a couple of cases of Hidden Fates ETBs. I bought them for $100 a piece. I sold them for 170 because I held on to them for like 2 years and they were literally just at 170 for 2 years straight. And I was like, once again, selling it, moving into another position I believed in. So that's it. But and because arguably, like if you're holding something for 2 years and you're not seeing any like price movement, I understand we like to look at things over like an average, right? Like over the next 5 years, right? Like how did it perform? And it would be 0%, 0%, 0%, 50%, right? Oh, all of a sudden it 12% each year. You know what I mean? It's not an exact science, which is why we average it out. But after I sold Hidden Fates at 170, it took another, God, what year is it? It took another 2 years before it finally got to where it is now. So to me, like I'm glad I got out of that position when I did, because realistically, a lot of the other investments that I put my money towards saw extreme amounts of volatility, while still Hidden Fates was going sideways.
Yeah, and you also remember, guys, like when you're watching other content creators, like everyone's just going to talk about the play they got right. They're going to get something right. It's like, I can give you guys a kind of a blueprint to, make yourself look like a successful YouTube investor. All you have to do is make 10 different videos calling out a different product every video. And then when one of them finally pops, just make a bunch of videos saying, I told you so on that product. And what happens is the internet completely forgets about all the other videos you made, because that's out of sight, out of mind. Everyone's attention spans are like this. But you'll be able to show receipts that you said this product. Now, no one cares you said 10 other products would move and those didn't. But you can show you said this one, and everyone gives you all kind of accolades like, oh, he was right. He called it. He beat you, all this stuff. And it's like, it's the YouTube game. So don't get that in your head and think like, oh, man, they're getting all these things right. No, they're not. They're not. Everyone's diversified. Everybody has better wins and worse wins. Don't get caught up in the fact that you always need to make the perfect play.
Yeah, Hidden Fates and Celebrations were definitely the two that I thought were going to do significantly better than they have been. So that's why I'm a little nervous. Like obviously it's a different market right now, but I'll be 100% honest with you guys. 30th anniversary, I'm not going to have a heavy amount of. I will significantly
stop.
I will have a significantly heavier amount of Ascended and Prismatic compared to 30th.
Oh, because you don't the time frame.
Because I just believe that, like, based off of how the 25th anniversary performed, like, I understand that the argument is the 30th is, has better looking cards than the 25th. But I guess in my mind, I look at Prismatic and Ascended Heroes as like such strong, like, investments. And I don't know how how the 30th is going to be treated in the same way. And so I'm not saying I'm not going to have any, but what I am saying is I will have more Prismatic. I will have more Ascended Heroes because it just feels safer to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but just based off of how the 25th went for me, I would have been much better off if I put all of my investments in Crown Zenith. Like point blank. Which is crazy, but that's just kind of how it is.
I'm just reading the latest comment, Joe's comment.
What?
It's just the same. It's literally, I don't know. I've been in the hobby too long, man. I've been here too long. It's the same stuff people were saying with Celebrations. The 25th being, oh no, he is talking about 25th. The 25th being such a small set killed it, in my opinion. Okay, he's talking about the 25th, but it's just like, it's this like mindset that like, you got to find something wrong with like every set. Like,
let me ask you this though, Alex. Do you think that you will probably have overall more Prismatic than you will 30th anniversary?
Well, yeah. unless
I mean, I don't know what your contract allows you to do. So, I mean,
unless we get to a point in 2027, 2028, and 30th is, I feel, is still way undervalued and it's being reprinted in mass and they just keep printing it, then I will probably go in just as heavy, if not heavier. Same with Ascended. If we get to Ascended's life cycle where it's only like 8 months from being out of print and it's still 170, 180 in ETB, I'm going to go extremely heavy into Ascended. So it's all about the time frame. Am I going to go that heavy into 30th anniversary right off the bat? No.
That's what I'm more or less getting at.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. However, the life
everyone is
out,
asking,
I could very well end up with more 30th than Prismatic. I just don't know, right? Like, I mean, God, if it's like 2 years from now and the ETBs are still under $100 or something stupid, oh my gosh, you better believe I'm backing the truck up. I'm not stupid.
Well, because that's more or less the point that I'm trying to make, is because it feels like everyone's asking me like, oh, Eli, how much 30th are you going to pick up? And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to pick up a ton of 30th because it's going to probably take some time before I feel confident in like picking up a position out the gate. Because out the gate, it was sideways and down forever. And I understand it's a different market, which makes it even scarier because it's probably going to be at a significantly higher price point out the gate than it was for even Celebration.
The market being the way it is scary, because what do you have to pay for this in large amounts? Like, again, we can have that conversation about like, I found one at my local Target. I got it for MSRP, or I caught a Pokemon Center dropper. Yeah. But what if you want to buy like, 20 cases worth? Like, you're not finding MSRP. Like, what's it going to cost to get a large quantity of this? That's the question.
It's probably going to come out the gate 150, maybe 120 at the cheapest. Like, I would be stunned if you saw them selling for $100. And if they were selling for $100, they're probably printing so much of this product for it to get to that point. I don't know. Do you have any price targets for 30th?
Well, I don't. I think you're probably right. Like 150 is probably going to be around where I'm thinking. But you know what's funny about that is when, because the MSRP gang, $100 in ETB, people would see that, I think, as a good deal. Like if it was 99,
yes, 100%,
people would be pretty happy with that, right? But a booster box being 200, 225, it's like 30% over MSRP or something stupid. They freak out and lose their minds. But an ETB can be double MSRP and they see that as a better deal.
Yeah.
They'd rather pay $100 for 9 packs than they would $225 for 36 packs. It's truly deranged.
To piggyback at your point about bear fatigue, I work in mortgage. We've been hearing customers say, I'm waiting for the crash since literally 2019. I mean, you've been hearing it since 2016. Yeah, I remember. This is such a random thing to say. This is such a
mortgage thing.
You know how you have like those moments where you have conversations and they stick with you for some reason? Like I remember when I was just graduating high school and it was I want to say 2018. And I remember I was working as a host at a pasta restaurant. And I remember some lady was like talking to me and she said she was in real estate of some sort. And I remember asking her like when the best time to like buy was. And she's like, oh, I would wait because prices are pretty overinflated right now. I feel like it's better. Like, I think there's going to be a correction. So like I think like 18 at the time. And so it's just funny to me because like, I even remember hearing that and I was like an 18-year-old, right? And adults were saying that. So it's just wild to me to think that like people straight up have been saying that for so freaking long.
Well, and it's every aspect. Cause like my dad's in mortgages too, drummer. He's a loan officer. But it's funny because like everyone in that industry has been waiting for rates to fall, right, for so long. And they haven't, like, to get like another refi boom. But then at the same time, everyone in that industry is also thinking like, well, how long can people hold out with all this debt that everyone's racking up, $1 trillion, all that, and not need to refinance and just eat a bigger rate just to be able to wipe out their debts because everyone's credit cards is loading up. It's like, well, why doesn't everyone need to refinance if everyone's getting so straddled by debt? Wouldn't you think they would just have to suck it up and refinance at a higher rate? So it's just like, it's really weird that like we're told all these things. Like Everyone's always in tons of debt. You know, everything's going to crash. Everything's going to come down. It's all a bubble. And it's just the fatigue, man. Like finally people get fatigued and they're just like, all right, fine. I'll just refinance. I'll just freaking buy a house. I'll just do this. You know, it's like, I think it's just the fatigue over every market is getting there. The stock market. People are fatigued about hearing the stock market's in bubble. It's like, oh, S&P 7,000, that's crazy. Now it's S&P 8,000. It's like Dow 50,000 is crazy. Now they're thinking it's just everything is just everyone's just getting so fatigued of betting against, you know, things going well, I think.
Do you think a reason Pokemon printing numbers are down is because they're printing ancillary products instead of booster boxes?
Possibly. I think another reason is all the other TCGs are eating up more print capacity than they used to. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh uses the same companies, guys. Yu-Gi-Oh uses Millennium Print Group, and Yu-Gi-Oh has been, I mean, their new set, their serialized set, it's getting allocated. Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't get allocated. Like I'm talking to some of my Yu-Gi-Oh sellers, dude. They're terrified that they're not getting enough. This set's going to be over MSRP, which for Yu-Gi-Oh is unheard of. Like, you know, One Piece going crazy. Like every TCG is exploding and needs more print capacity.
So 2020 and 2021, you had two major TCGs that came out, right? It was MetaZoo and it was Flesh and Blood. Those were the popular ones. Recently, the ones that have been popularized more so, which I would argue one of them was more 2023-ish. It was kind of during the bear market, but it was Lorcana, which that one was popular. But you've got Riftbound, which obviously popped off. You've got Gundam that's popped off. You've got, once again, a continuation of One Piece. You've got now Yu-Gi-Oh popping off. So it feels like you have so many more TCGs that are either being popularized, like they came out like a while ago, but they're being popularized more than ever, or you've got just new ones that still have an absolute crap ton of hype tied to them. Because if you look at a lot of the ones from like the first boom, there's some I didn't even mention because they just did terrible. Like you remember Star Wars Unlimited?
Yeah,
no one talks about Star Wars Unlimited.
Popped off.
Yeah, like that was that out the gate, super popular. No one talks about it. MetaZoo went bankrupt. Like literally, MetaZoo did terrible. Flesh and Blood. I mean, most boxes at this point are 50% below wholesale, like below wholesale, right? So all these TCGs during like the last boom are like failing miserably versus like right now, the ones that did survive, like One Piece, are doing better than ever. And then same with Yu-Gi-Oh. Obviously, it's like you just said, it's going to be, I mean, yeah, it's been, we don't talk about Yu-Gi-Oh a lot at my shop, but it's being talked about because everyone's obviously wanting to get a hold of the serialized. And then like the other TCGs I mentioned, like Riftbound, Lorcana, you know, Gundam, like these are ones that all are part of the Bandai IP like universe, and they seem to be ones that want to stick around. I know it's too early to tell for now, but they're still extremely popular, and we have a player base that comes into our shop consistently for those IPs.
That's another, you know, the fatigue, like going on brand, like the stream title, the fatigue of people hating on serialized is hilarious too. It's just like, dude, every TCG that throws serialized sports and they started throwing all the serialized, like it's just, it makes people want it, man. The product does really well. People love serialized. People in the chat or comments will say, you know, X, Y, or Z about how bad serialized, dude. Every time a freaking company does it, the sales spike through the roof.
Yeah, there's a lot of TCGs that are you know, taking up significantly more printing capacity nowadays. Also,
dude, I just keep going back to the salmon metaphor. It's just like, I don't understand why people want to fight the stream, why they want to keep just like forcing themselves against it. Like, just go with the market. Why are you trying to fight the market so hard? Like tooth and nail. Like, it's like you're trying to run through a brick wall. It's like, dude, it's not moving. Go that way.
I think it's because all good things come to an end at some point, and everyone wants to be the guy that is the, you know, the smart person that called the top. But most
Well,
of
yeah,
the
I mean, it's
time,
always been the thing. Like you're smart when you're a bear, but like you're stupid when you're a bull. It's like, oh, the stupid bulls. It's like it's so goofy, man. People think it's like being negative about things in life makes you intelligent. It's very
yeah,
strange.
like things will, I mean, it's just the reality. Like market cycles ebb and flow, right? Like you will see, I mean, and it's not like we're saying a crash is coming, but like you will see obviously a point in which things cool off. That goes for traditional markets, that goes for commodities, that goes for Pokemon. Like things will cool off. But at the end of the day, it's like the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. So it's like there's no point of trying to, you know, call the top and then getting absolutely like burnt by it. I'd much rather be late to calling the top than early
Well, I mean, I
because
just think like the ego on some of these people thinking like that they know like where the top is and when it's going to hit. It's like, dude, that's so it's ridiculous, dude. Like you have the top analysts on Wall Street that like do nothing but research companies all day and they literally get things wrong every single day. But you somehow think you are going to be able to call the top of the market, right? And it's like people have now been wrong for over 2 years. You've missed out on so many gains that even if you are right at some point now, you're never going to make up what you've lost out on. The market's never going to drop to the lows it was in 2023. It's just not going to happen, right? It didn't drop to the lows from 21 to 22. It's not dropping to the lows now. And so you're already wrong. And so it's like I said before, the bigger risk is not taking action than worrying about when the top is or what's going to happen when the top hits. It's like, so that's the thing. That's the other thing. It's like, they're not only predicting a top, they're also so full of themselves. They think they can predict how much it's going to pull back. Who says it's going to pull back more than 20%? No one knows. Who knows how long the pullback's going to last, how long the stagnation bear market's going to last. Like the idea that you think you can somehow predict this and that's why you're not investing money, I call BS. I call BS.
I know everyone's getting super hyped about the 30th, but why is no one getting hyped about the rumor that Eli is ending his wholesale program, making Alex CEO? Are these just rumors?
No, Eli doesn't like money. He's actually, he didn't want to tell you this. His business has actually been moved into a nonprofit and now he's just a monk.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
All of his profits get donated to his monastery where he is a monk.
Is that what we're gonna start calling our wholesale members? The monks of the program?
They support your what is it? You finding enlightenment in life.
Oh God, that's so crazy.
They support your enlightenment journey.
I want to appreciate all my enlightenment members. Thank you so much for helping me achieve.
I think it's great. I think what you guys are all doing for the world's a good thing. Like, don't get me wrong.
I don't know, man. I would like to argue that we have a lot of amazing people in the program that do things out of the kindness of their heart that they don't have to, because they are a firm believer in like what we're trying to build here. And ultimately at the end of the day, I also feel like there's a certain part of like making money where I understand like everyone like, well, okay, I'm gonna backtrack what I was gonna say. Alex, you obviously want to retire, right? That's a goal of yours, right? Most people want to retire. Most people want to retire, right?
Here we go.
And so for me, like, I feel like I get a ton of fulfillment out of what I do. And as with many people have told me in the program, the reason why they do certain things without like, you know, charging me a ton of money for it is because they always say, I make a ton of money. I'm content. There's only so much money that makes me happy. And I just get to do something that I enjoy and I know it's going to a good cause. And so like for me, monastery, yeah. So I guess the point I'm trying to articulate is for me, like, yes, in theory, like, could I get rid of the program and probably make so much more money? Yes. But like for me, the vision that I have for the wholesale program and what I feel like the good it could do, not only for like consumers, but then also other businesses, and then like the amount of employees that I'll be able to like hire and then provide for. That's something that like really motivates me and kind of gives me purpose. And so like you could make the argument that yes, if I made more money, I'd be closer to retiring. But I'll be honest, I don't anticipate that I'm going to like retire anytime soon, because this is something that I truly do enjoy and it gives me purpose and it like gets me up in the morning. And so for me, like my greater goal is creating something that like is bigger than just me. And it's something that I have that helps so many other people. So I don't know. Like,
Dude, why do you
it
gotta
sounds
be such a
easy
good
to
guy?
say, but
Why do you gotta make the rest of us look bad?
it sounds cheesy to say. Like, I'm not saying this. This is like people that know me know I say this all the time. So this isn't like a new thing, but like,
You
I
know
don't
what
know.
Eli
It
was
sounds
telling me
cheesy.
earlier? I'm gonna out Eli.
Oh God.
Eli was telling me earlier, he's like, I've been on YouTube a long time. I've never had any of these like people bash me like they have you and others. And I'm like, dude, it's because you say stuff like that. Like, how are you gonna bash a dude that just said that whole spiel you just gave? Like, dude, that's like you're like one step away from sainthood, man.
Oh God, don't put that on me, man. Dude, I hate that, dude. That makes me feel so like bad, because now all of a sudden, like, if I mess up, then I'm the guy that's like, can you believe it? Like, Eli is so high and mighty and he did this, and all of a sudden the limelight's on me.
All right,
Golly,
you want me to like throw a little.
Now I need a
gotta
jab.
throw one jab.
Yeah, I need a jab.
All right. You always say you want to be the what of Pokemon?
Oh, the Costco of Pokemon. That's my favorite saying.
Okay.
All right.
Doesn't Costco make money on their product when they sell it?
They do make money on their product. Yes. You got me there. Checkmate. Checkmate.
I'm just saying, if we want to be like Costco, you might need to like make a few tweaks. I'm just saying.
Hey, the brick and mortar is doing pretty good. I won't complain about the brick and mortar. I mean, the margin is in the brick and mortar. The margin's not in the wholesale program, obviously. And so, but yes,
Eli's going up next to Danny Phantom. Dude, Danny's up there too.
I have not met Danny. I think it'd be cool if, I don't know if you've got the pull for it, Alex, but if we could ever have him on the channel, I think it'd be cool.
Dude, I don't have any pull. Are you kidding me?
What do you mean you don't have any
negative pull?
Aren't you scheduled to be on like the next live?
Staldynamic's name in the Pokemon community is like the biggest. Like, honestly, I can't believe you even want to publicly say that you know me. Like, that's kind of where we're at. My name has zero pull.
I guess I'm confused because I thought you told me that your agent who got you the Prismatic deal also was able to get you a spot on the Rudy podcast. So I thought you were like that, dude. So I didn't think that someone as small as Danny Phantom compared to the almighty Rudy was going to be that difficult for you. I mean,
yeah, I don't joke about the Rudy podcast, dude. I would absolutely love a spot on the Rudy podcast. There is no joking there. That's not a joke. That's a bucket list trip, dude.
I don't know, man. With the GM like you got over there, like, you know, you got some Howie Roseman working in the background is all I'm hearing. All right.
Joke about that.
Will Rudy merge PCG?
How is that the next question?
What a follow-up. Alex, I want your full insight on this. Is this a magic 8-ball question?
I don't think tag's all it's cracked up to be.
What? Would you like to explain for the people?
Here's again, I don't like to be legally implicated in anything. Here's what I would say. I would try to do some heavy research and look into exactly all of the processes that tag uses and how much AI they're using on your grades. I don't want to divulge any information or any sources or anything. I
think, at least for me, which I haven't used tag, but I've seen plenty of videos of people that use tag. The one thing I feel like the biggest appeal to them that no other grading company, mainstream grading company does, is they tell you why you got the grade that you did. And that's the annoying thing, because PSA, if I get a 9, I'm like, why'd I get a 9? They don't tell you it's because of a print line, it's because of centering. So like, obviously you've got BGS, which they'll tell you like, oh, you got a 9.5 because you got a 9 on the centering versus a 10. Like, yeah, that helps, but their in-depth analysis that they give you makes it so it's so much easier for you to understand the grade. I feel like if other companies did that, there would be such a different perspective on like these grading companies. And that's the crazy thing to me is like, I'm being dead serious. If PSA came out and they didn't say they used AI, but they gave you a more in-depth report on your grades, I feel like people look at PSA so differently because people view PSA in such a shady light. But if they were more transparent about why you got the grade you did, then people would look at them so differently.
Yeah, I just see it from the evil capitalist point of view. I don't think it's like trying not to be transparent. I just think it's time. I just think they're just trying to throw as many units out as they can and, just run the numbers up as fast as they can with as much as they can. I don't even think it's about transparent, not transparent. Like they could be. I just think they're trying to get as many cards out the door as they possibly can.
I mean, I agree with you that obviously they don't do it because of the time it would take to do it. I'm just saying that from a branding perspective, it would look significantly better on their overall brand persona if they did do something like that. No, you're good, Alex. No, I was saying that I agree with you. They don't do it more than likely because of the time it would probably take to do something like that. All I'm saying is that if they wanted to clean up the brand that is PSA, because I feel like PSA has been getting a lot of flack lately, if they were to do something like that, it would definitely help their image. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Eli and Alex, how heavy are you on Surging Spark? Do you believe you'll be buying or selling in the near future?
I mean, it's like one of the higher positions I have in Scarlet Violet. Nowhere near like Prismatic 151, Paldea Evolved, but it's definitely like on the higher end of my positions that I have, I think.
I don't have a ton, but I do think that is a position that I would like to own more of. I'm at a different point in my life than Alex. So he's hyper focused on accumulation right now. And I'm just now in the process of like having a safety net for my life. Cause cause like realistically, right? Like how old are you again? You're 33, 34?
No, I'm 35.
He's 35. God, I'm sorry I outed him like that.
Dude,
so
see,
he's 35.
You wonder why, like you're like Alex is like focused on getting to retirement. Yeah, because I'm old. Okay. All right.
So he's 35. I'm 27, right? So your home's fully paid off. Yes.
Yeah.
I just bought my home last year, right? So I'm new to this whole like home ownership thing, and that expended a lot of my capital. And so because of that, I have a lot of my initial Pokemon investments that I'm still holding on to, like Lost Origin. I still have like 14 cases, I think, of Lost Origin booster boxes. I still have quite a bit of other products that I initially invested in. So I still have heavy Pokemon investments. But right now, I am, after buying the home, I'm putting some money off to the side as kind of like a safety net for myself before I start going extremely heavy again in Pokemon. Not because I don't want to invest in Pokemon, I very much do, but I just feel like it would be safe for me since now I obviously have more expenses because mortgage is way more expensive than renting.
100%.
And then also as well, my business too, another thing to also take into consideration. So my business, when I first got the store, I think my overhead to operate it was about $8,000 a month. That's the cost of, labor, rent, utilities, etc. My current operating expense for the business is about $38,000 a month. So in the past 2 years, my operating expenses have gone up by 30 grand.
Just labor?
That's the biggest part of it. So actually I can tell you exactly how much of it is labor. So
holy crap. Yeah, I would. Dude, I
So
would be getting a very hefty safety net if I had 38,000
yeah.
expense every month.
So about 28,000 of it is labor. So, and then the remaining 10,000 is just stagnant. So, because rent 6,000, labor is 28,000, and then utilities, security, which we put a lot of money into security, into the shop because yeah, you want to make sure your business is safe. Electricity costs, internet, socials, like Roca, Fizzbatch, like that kind of stuff, POS systems, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I could keep going, but it comes out to the exact total is $38,339.60.
See, and to run our business, it takes, well, nothing. But I mean, I don't know. I have like 3
Yeah.
storage unit payments.
We do
And
have some storage unit
I
payments.
do have AT&T fiber internet, like direct line to my computer.
Sheesh.
And
He's got fiber, guys.
I don't really know. Like, yeah, we don't really have any expenses other than inventory. Like, if we're not selling, then we don't have expenses. So it's like, it's so much different for me, dude. I would be, dude, no, I would be operating completely differently. I am 100% on your side. I would
Yeah.
not be investing if I didn't have, months of expenses put away to run the business and also my personal expenses. Like, no, you're doing the right thing, dude.
I'm just constantly thinking to myself, like, if I were, God forbid, to lose 50% of my income, like, what would be my next move? And for me, like, I want to understanding that employees are my biggest expense. I want to make sure that, like, I can take care of my employees. Because to me, like, that's something that it's kind of like the Dave Ramsey approach. It's like, did you ever hear Dave Ramsey talk about like what he kind of did with his employees?
No.
Basically, like when
How you
COVID
like
was
paid for them
happening.
during COVID?
Yeah, which obviously I'm not at Dave Ramsey's level, so I wouldn't be able to do what he did to a certain extent. But I want to do whatever I can within my power to make sure that like my employees know that like I value them and I want to keep them on as like long as financially possible and what makes the most sense, right? And so having a safety net makes me feel more secure in the longevity of not only the business, but then also the company and the culture that I've kind of formed from the employees that work there. Cause I wouldn't be there without them. Like I'm very grateful for all the employees that I have.
Yeah, guys, I want to be very clear. Like, I know we talk about all these like positions and all this like business and stuff, but like, this is all to benefit your life, like whatever you got going on. Like, I think people think I'm like crazy or take crazy risks. My wife still has a job, and because we don't have a house payment anymore, her income more than covers every one of our monthly bills. If I make $0, we are still saving money at the end of the month. So every bit of money I make in this business, it stays in the business. It goes into investments, whether it be Pokemon or other investments. Like, it's all my money to play with to continue to grow like net worth or grow the business. So yeah, if I had like bills like that, dude, I wouldn't be doing near the things I was doing. And if I had like kids or I had other, responsibilities, I would be taking care of that. And I would have emergency funds in place for that before I ever put any major money in Prismatic Evolutions or these other sets. So just remember, everyone's got different lives going on. So don't like watch any of this and think like, oh my God, I need to do this or that. It's like, no, everyone's doing different stuff. They're different. They're playing different games. They're not even at different legs of the game. They're playing different games,
Yeah. People are at different points in their life and people obviously have different businesses that they're doing or they have different expenditures. You know what I mean? Like how I looked at it was this is going to sound crazy, but like step 1, move out of your parents' place. Step 2, have a car that you fully own and you have paid off. Step 3, get a home. And like step 4 is like work towards retirement after you've created a safety net for yourself. Which, to be fair, like I've always kind of had a safety net, but like I said before, it's gotten bigger now because I've also factored in the business. But I'm talking more so along the lines of like just like my personal goals outside of my business goals, which they obviously work in tandem, but they're still separate from one another.
Yeah.
So it's different, right? And I am someone that also like I understand the value of debt and like learning how to like leverage. But to me, like I like good debt, not bad debt. So to me, obviously a car, it's a depreciating liability, right? I want to own like as little of that debt as possible, right? But obviously, if I take out a loan, for example, to buy commercial real estate for a business that's generating me revenue, and now I am owning the land in which I am earning through a business. Now, that obviously, in my mind, is considered significantly better debt to own versus that on a car that just loses value the more I drive it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
The monk's golden rule: move out of your parents' place.
I mean, it's like, so
Dude, the
I'm,
next thumbnail, we got you as a monk.
oh God.
We're gonna have like you like air bending on the thumbnail.
That's funny. I don't know. I love my parents and I'm obviously grateful for them. Well, I should say this. I'm very blessed and I felt very privileged to have a home environment where I felt that there wasn't a rush for me to get out. I know there's a lot of people that either, their at home life isn't the best and they feel the need to like move out as soon as possible because of the mental drain that it has on them. Or some people don't even have the ability to like, have a place to live and they're gone on their own at 18. So like I feel very lucky to basically be able to live with my parents until I was like comfortable enough to be able to financially move out. So
I was
because I
gonna say,
know,
stay at home as long as you can, man.
yeah, exactly. And so that's more or less what I'm trying to get at is like if you have the ability to obviously save money and live with your parents because like you have a good like at home life with them, great, then that's fantastic. Capitalize on that as much as you can. Cause like I think that the whole idea of like moving out of your parents' place past the point of like your own independence is putting yourself into a situation where like you can hopefully set yourself up for success in your long-term goals that you have for yourself financially. So for me, one of my long-term goals I had was to marry my wife. And I wasn't going to do that living at home with my parents, obviously. So, because my wife and I, shocker, we live with each other. Who would have guessed it, right? So kind of needed that to happen once we got married. But yeah, that's definitely a big thing. And I was, I think, 23 years old when I moved out of my parents' place. So, which it's funny because I feel like that's really late, but I've been looking at a lot of the average statistics and they're saying I think 25 now is the average age someone moves out of their
25 for me.
parents' place. Huh?
I was 25.
Yeah, like it's crazy. It gets later and later, dude. Like, yeah, but I mean, it's just the economy, how things are nowadays.
Well, I mean, I could have moved out sooner, but like, again, I get along with my parents and I was like, dude, I could save up a whole nother year. Then when I move out, I'm able to like get the house I want, be able to get the furniture, all the bull crap needed, like, and just have all that cash on hand, not take all kind of debt. And it was the right decision for me. But again, that's a privilege. Like that is like, being privileged. So like not everyone has that. But like, if you have that, guys, man, don't buy into that whole BS. Like I gotta get out. Like, dude, if you got a decent home life, save up money. It makes getting your life started so much easier.
Yeah, don't take it for granted. I'll say that.
Because I mean, dude, if you're living at home and all you got is car payment, car insurance, and whatever your regular bills are, and like you don't have house and everything that comes with it, dude, and you just get a decent job out of college, you can save up money so quick as long as you're smart about it. You're not going out and partying all the time. I mean, dude, you can literally change the whole trajectory of your life, staying at home a couple of years and putting all that money away as long as your parents are okay with it.
100%. Thoughts on how the new PSA facility in Germany will impact the current state of grading? It opens this summer.
I just don't know anything about it to comment on it.
This is new to me.
I mean, I would think it's going to make slabs more available. I just don't know how much like arbitrage there is across seas right now with slabs, and how much the two markets kind of interact. Like Destin Rivals is flowing all throughout Europe right now, and we've seen a decent size correction in the US, but nothing crazy. It's like, so maybe it like has a decent effect, like a small effect, but it probably will be a lot less pronounced than what people are thinking, in my opinion. If I had to like take a shot in the dark.
Yeah, I would say that PSA obviously most prevalent in the US. They're trying to expand into other continents, and this is just kind of that next step in globalization of grading. Because I know there's other grading companies that are popular in Europe, right? Ones that that I'm super unfamiliar with.
Yeah, Ace, right?
I gotta look this up.
I think it's
There's
Ace.
probably a lot of Europeans that are in the chat. If you guys have ones that you want to show out or throw out there, popular grading card grading companies. All right, so it looks like
yeah, you small fish says Ace.
Ace. Yeah, I'm seeing Ace based in UK. Another one is PCG. That one's popular. It looks like in Germany.
Well, that's Rudy's.
It says MGC is located in the UK.
Well, the PCG's Rudy's, dude.
PCG operating out of Germany. Professional card grading.
They're worldwide.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that. Yeah, so PCA is one widely popular service based in France. Ace in UK. PCG, it says, based
Isn't
in
it funny
Germany.
how they're all 3 letters?
Right? People like their 3-letter grading companies. All right, let's take a couple more questions, then we'll get out of here. Question for Alex: after your recent video, Chinese exclusive Pikachu's or more prismatic ETBs. Let's give people a summation about your most recent video, Mr. Alex.
Dude, I was just showing how I don't know if you've seen it. All the Chinese exclusive illustrations from those gem sets and some 151 sets are just going insane. Like the Cubone from Gem 3 went from like the 200s up to like over $1,000. A lot of the other cards, like there's the Gem 2 Umbreon, there's the Gem 1 Detective Pikachu, or not what is it? The Detective Pikachu, Captain Pikachu. There's the just the Pikachus from 151. There's like the Pikachu Gengar. There's the Gengar from Gem 3. Like there's a bunch of all these exclusive rares. They're all seeing like 100% plus returns, up to like hundreds of percent returns in the past 3 months. So they're going through the roof. And so I was just bringing people's attention, but no, I'm still myself sticking with prismatic. I've said this before. Me and Eli always talk about this. When you play with the slabs in the singles market, when you get things right, it's going to be like getting a single stock right. You're going to exponentially outperform the index. But the problem is you're taking on a lot more risk when you play those games. And when you get hurt, when you get hit, you're going to grossly underperform the index. So I want to be in things like the index, which I believe is sealed product. I'm fine with the slower, sustained growth. I'm at the point now where I'm not trying to take any crazy risk with my money. And I think a Chinese exclusive that's already up hundreds of percent is a risk.
Yeah. It's interesting.
The Gengar Pikachu, it's selling for as much as a Moonbreon. Chinese card.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, man. I barely know Japanese, let alone other languages. So it's tough for me to want to get into like Japanese promos, let alone other promos.
And by the way, I'm happy for everyone that made the play and is making out like bandits. Like, congrats. Like, I think that's like the common misconception too, is like, if you feel a certain way about something, you're absolutely like mad about the move. Like, I'm not mad, dude. Like, it's still not for me. It's like if, one of my friends who's in the stock market heavy, if one of their positions plays out and I wasn't a believer in it, I didn't get in, I'm like upset that they made money. It's just like, it's just not for me. And it's still not for me. And it won't be for me. I don't mess with foreign languages. I don't know those markets. I don't want to invest in things I don't understand. And so I stick with English. Is it always the right option? No, but it's right for me. It fits my risk tolerance and my knowledge base.
There's opportunities to be made everywhere, but there's only so much time and energy you can put into something. And so just sticking with what you know that's been working for you, there's no need to get cute with it otherwise, because you heard that something popped off and you want to get in this opportunity. You could end up actually getting burnt more times than not trying to do that versus sticking to what you know and just making money that way.
It's just like a few months ago and everyone's talking about One Piece. Like, oh, don't you wish you would have invested in One Piece? No, I know nothing about One Piece.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I bought One Piece back in the day when all the boxes were $100 and it was just like, oh, this is a fun play to take a chance on, but I'm not going to jump into something when it's 500, 1,000 a box and try to make a play. It's too risky.
I think about taking profits on some sealed and rolling into high-end SARs for my collection. Better to sell and buy right away or hold cash for potential correction on singles? I said SARs, right?
Yeah, I think if you're right, you're going to be very happy. And I think if you're wrong, you're going to be very unhappy. Just know that when you're taking chances on singles, you are inherently taking on more risk, like I just said. And it's very, very much like buying a single stock or buying an index. Single stock does good, you're going to outperform the index. Single stock does bad, you're going to lose a lot more than the index. So if we go into a bear market or a slowdown, the singles and slabs are likely going to take a much harder hit than the sealed product will. But if you believe in it, you think the market's going to continue and you're right, you're going to crush it.
Yeah, I'm sticking to what I know, which is sealed. If I have any conviction about a single, then, you know, sometimes, but right now I just feel like sealed is where my money's going. All right, we'll do last question, get out of here. I don't know if that's a good question to end on. I gotta answer a good one, Alex. Here, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna try and see if I can find a good long. Here, I think this isn't a bad one. How does highly printed sets, Prismatic Evo, surpass the older sets like Crown Zenith or Evolving Skies ETBs? Do you understand what he means by asking that question?
Surpass older sets like Crown Zenith?
Yeah,
friend, I don't know if you were around or how long you've been around. Crown Zenith was one of the most heavily printed sets ever. I mean, they printed that into the absolute ground, to the point where you can go back to conversations in my Discord literally 2 years ago, maybe 3 now, 2 or 3, about 2. And people were getting clowned for buying cases of Crown Zenith ETBs, getting clowned for it because they were $40-$50 and nobody wanted them because they were everywhere. They were littered everywhere. And, you know, then they threw out more Sea and Sky boxes. They threw out bundles. Like, they printed that. Literally packs of Crown Zenith I was buying in bulk for $4. And I had thousands of them and people couldn't get rid of them quick enough. And so, you know, if you think this is plentiful, you have no idea what Crown Zenith looked like, what Evolutions looked like. Like, yeah, it's just, this is how it always looks when things are in print. And you come back, revisit that question 2 years from now, you're going to say, I can't believe I thought that was plentiful.
Yeah. I mean, it's going for 340 right now, lowest listed. I want to say what, in 2022, 2023, it was sitting at $40-$45 for probably a good solid like 6 months. So, I mean, that's a
like I said, it's very simple. If you think the most expensive special illustration rare ever printed right now and the most expensive PSA 10 modern card going all the way back to Sun and Moon era, if you think that, as well as the God Pack, all the other hits, is not enough to carry the set, then don't buy it. Say I'm wrong and buy the other things.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
I mean, do you remember the value of a lot of like the Crown Zenith cards?
I mean, dude, they were always under $100. Like Mewtwo was $50.
Is there?
And it's still only 300.
Is there one from Crown Zenith that you know of that like has, from a percentage perspective, outperformed the ETB?
Oh yeah, the Mew.
Crown Zenith Mew.
Yeah.
Dude, I hate it. Dude, TCG Player's website is so broken. If you go to TCG Player's website, at least it's doing this for me, and I click on Crown Zenith. If I click on it, it takes me to the main page for some reason of the screen.
Dude, just a year ago, the Mew was like $18, and now it's like here, let me go near mint. Now it's like a $70 card.
Why
but
can't I
if you
pull
go
it up?
back further, I think the Mew was like single digits. Like if we get on like Pokédata or price charting or something, I believe the Mew was down into like single digits when it was low. Yeah, $3. So Alex says it was $3. So it's a $70 card now. Like stuff like that's going on.
Yeah, that's definitely the best performer. I mean, the Giratina, like, it's not performed bad by any means, but like, I think, dude, you remember the Giratina card when I was having conversations with you about that back in the day? Because people would always ask like what the price target for it was. And I think I remember like telling people that I thought it was going to go to like sub $100, and like people thought I was crazy for that take. And it went all the way down to like $80. I don't know if you remember that. It was super long ago.
Specifically that card now.
Yeah, no. So literally back in the day when Crown Zenith was having the Sea and Sky boxes getting printed, I was telling people, because they kept asking me like, is now a good time to buy the Giratina? And I said, no, wait until it gets below 100 and then you can consider picking it up. And people were like, are you crazy? Like, it's never going to break below 100. And I was getting clowned for it. And I think it got all the way down to 80. Like, it was crazy how cheap that card went to.
I do remember one card you called pre-release though.
Oh, the Groudon?
Dude, the Groudon was selling like $20 pre-release. And Eli's like, yeah, this is clearly like the best card in the set. It's clearly undervalued. And at release, I think it ran up to like 45.
Yeah, I've definitely, I would say that like I've had a couple of art design calls that I'm like, dude, I feel like this is such a sick art. It needs to be worth significantly more. I was stunned the Magikarp was as undervalued as it was for the longest time. Like, it felt like that was another card where it was so obvious of a design. Like, people like unique artworks, like, you know, and I'm talking that because like, God, this is going to sound like such a dumb question to ask. What's the name of the super popular artist everyone loves? The one that did the Drowsy, and like, I always forget his name. Is it Sigamori? I'm probably botching that. People in the comments will say it. But there's this one popular artist that everyone, anytime he puts out a card, like his cards always pop off. And like, here's my thing with that is Shinji Kanda. Thank you. Shinji Kanda. Thank you. So like Shinji Kanda.
Wait, Shinji Kanda did the Drowsy too?
It's the one from I think it's the Drowsy. Isn't he the one that did the Drowsy from Scarlet Violet?
The Magikarp and the Giratina. I didn't, and then like the Seismitoad.
Didn't he do the Drowsy, or is that another popular Japanese artist? I thought he did the Drowsy, which is why I was popping off like crazy from Scarlet Violet, I think is what it was.
Yeah, base set.
Base set, yeah.
Yeah, hold on. No.
Let me see if I can find it. The Drowsy.
Yeah, it's Kamiya.
Okay, different artist?
Yeah, Kamiya did that one.
Okay. Is that a super popular artist? I'm not super familiar with a lot of the artists.
He's known.
I guess the point I was trying to get at. So different artist. I feel like so many people like put so much into like the artist, which I feel like there's definitely value to that because there is a cult following. But I feel like where a lot of times like the value is an appreciation for the cards that aren't like the obvious ones because of the artist that made it, if that makes sense. I feel like those get missed quite often.
Look at all the comments, dude. It's like everyone knows all these artists. It's crazy.
I know, because people, like I said, it's a cult following. Like it's so funny. I talk to people all the time about like Pokemon and why it's so popular. And people are like dumbfounded over the fact that like there's an appreciation of the artwork and how there's artists that like go into creating these absolutely magnificent designs. And it's just something that, you know, you're obviously going to have your cult followings, but I feel like the real opportunities a lot of times are looking past just the seismotodes that are made by the popular artists, but it's the ones that have really cool art designs that people are not looking at initially because they're saying to themselves like, wow, this is a really cool art design, but it's not made by someone that's like a super popular artist, if that makes sense. Because like the Mew or
It's
like
so,
this,
dude, all this is so far out of anything like any of my wheelhouse, dude. So if you pause and wait for me to have a response, I won't have one.
well, I guess like you know, a fantastic call was like the Sleepy Pikachu from Mason. Mason was the one that made that call, right? It doesn't matter who the artist was. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at that card and be like, wow, that's such a cool,
Dude,
unique card.
don't tell the chat that. They might come at you.
Oh God, my
You
bad.
said it doesn't matter who the artist was. They might come at you hard after that.
But I'm saying is you can have two things at once. You can have a card that's got a really cool art design because it obviously is made by an artist that's prominent and is just a extremely creative and, you know, artistic artist, I guess. They're just a good artist. They're good at their craft is what I'm trying to say. And then you can also have someone that's less known that like makes something that's truly beautiful and you've never heard of them. Just because they're a known artist, just because they're not a known artist doesn't mean they can't make something beautiful is what I'm trying to say. Because that's the thing, right? Is like art is subjective to a certain extent. And so I feel like so much of the art world is like, you could literally, it's like brands, right? It's like Louis Vuitton. If you were to take the sticker off, it's like the value of an LV item goes down, but like you could easily make the exact same product and it be significantly cheaper, but because it doesn't have the brand tied to it, then all of a sudden like it loses so much of its worth. I look at that in the same regard where like I feel like there's a lot of undervalued like cards that people don't appreciate as much because even though they have really cool art designs, just because the artist is not super popular, they kind of get like lost in the sauce, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So take advantage of those cards that like are undervalued. You are a believer in the art design, but they don't happen to have a super popular you know, artists backing it because those are the ones that usually are more slept on versus like the seismotodes. And whenever you hear a card that like has a popular artist that's going to be the one commissioning it, those are the ones that typically are going to perform significantly better out the gate, or the price is already going to have been baked into the cake because people know, oh, so and so's making this card, therefore the value is going to be already there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, I think that's a good one to end on. You feel pretty good? We've been going for almost 2 hours now.
I'm feeling good, man. I think dude, I really think people like need to think about, like, honestly, the whole title, the thumbnail of this video, like, look around. The fatigue is to the point where, you know, how long are you going to fight the market? Like, how long are you going to fight the fact that Pokemon is here to stay, that this is not the 90s sports card bubble, that this is not Beanie Babies, this is not Tulip Mania. Like, art has been transacted for decades, centuries, whatever. And this is just the new art form that people in our generations now prefer and they value, and it's going to continue that way. Honestly, for foreseeable future, there'll be ups and downs in the market, but this idea that all this is going to crash and go away, like, you know, tulip bulbs did or something, I think people are just I don't know. I think they're finally starting to come around to the fact that, like, yeah, you know, some things may be cheaper at some point, but this isn't ever going to like crash and go to zero. So it is what it is.
There is actually one other thing I did want to say before we wrap it up. So I'm seeing people say, so Alex is saying Akira Igawa is getting really popular right now. Alfred says that they did this CZ God cards, the Crown Zenith God cards, and then they're saying that he did the Mega Darkrai card. Dude, have you seen the Mega? So first and foremost, I want to say this. I don't really like the design of the Mega Darkrai, but
I don't really like the Crown Zenith Gold cards that much.
I think dude, I really do like, dude, hot take. I like the Crown Zenith Gold card Giratina more than I do the Lost Origin one.
I mean, I don't
Like,
like the Lost Orgy one that much either.
yeah, so it might be a hot take, but what the point I was going to is, have you seen the Pitch Black SIR?
Yeah, I think I have glanced. It got sent to me.
Dude, it looks so cool. Like I said, not a fan of the Darkrai Altar card. I think that card art is so magnificent. It is so sick. Because, I mean, you know what they're doing with the art of the card itself. It's literally forming an eye. It like looks like an eye is what they're making the Darkrai look like, which I think is, I mean, artistically, I think it looks magnificent. How it's like the inner of a pupil. So if you haven't seen the card already, definitely go check it out.
You know, it looks pretty cool.
All right, let's wrap it up there. Thank you guys all so much for stopping by. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe. Really helps the channel. If you want to check out Alex, links down below. And then any other thing you want to say before we head out, Alex?
That's it, man.
All right. You guys all have a good rest of your Monday. We'll see you all next week. Peace.